Meeting, so we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, the first matter is the review and approval of the minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Okay, in a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay. I don't have announcements. Does anyone else have announcements?
I'll just mention, it's a little bit out of our neighborhood, but the Chester Ridley Crum Watershed Association has a whole bunch of stream cleanups and all sorts of educational things coming up in April and May. If you go to crcwatersheds.org, everything will be there.
Thank you, Dan. Anything else for announcements? All right, well, let's move into the work group reports and discussion then. Radnor Green Team, do we have a report on that, Sally? I think, did you attend?
Actually, that meeting was canceled. I didn't realize that. I got there anyway, so I had a very nice short chat with Bob Hale just to get caught up, but basically nothing official. So yeah, officially nothing.
All right, okay. Any report on sustainability matters? I see that's on the agenda. Okay. Open space. I'm going to report on the Greenways and Open Space Network process. I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of the upcoming public meetings. This is an ongoing process, and the consultant that was hired to work on it is holding a series of public meetings. The next public meeting will be here at the Township building on April 14th from 7 to 9 in the evening, and they'll be discussing the planning process and some of the options that they're looking at. Then there will be a June 3rd public meeting, and the final presentation of the plan will be in September, on September 9th. These are all evening meetings. The other thing I want to mention in relation to the open space process is that on the Radnor Township website, there's a survey that we're encouraging everyone to take to discuss your use of open space in the township. So please go to, if you haven't already taken that survey, please go to the township website and take the survey. The next item on the agenda is Audubon Birdtown, and Radnor Birdtown, and there actually hasn't been a meeting since our last meeting, so nothing to report there. I take it there's nobody here to report on community environmental education and awareness? Not tonight. Well, we'll move to the liaison reports then. Skip?
Okay. The most recent planning meeting dealt with the Villanova CICD ordinance again. And a one-page summary would be to say to you that the Planning Commission largely on a basically 8-to-1 basis by vote re-suggested everything we had largely suggested to the commissioners before they looked at most recently at the ordinance. To my knowledge, they have not yet addressed our concerns, unless it was last night, or the last day or two. The setbacks for us are the most important issue. We still feel as a group at planning that 35-foot setbacks off of Lancaster Avenue are too small. And I know that you're with Villanova, and I'm not trying to say anything, but I think 65 feet compared to the ordinance itself, the planned institutionals, I think 120 feet. So 65 feet or 60 feet is already a major move towards a middle ground, but that's my opinion. And I expect we'll see it again.
All right. It seems to be an ongoing process.
Yep. And biomed will be probably on our agenda this coming April meeting.
All right.
That's the mixed-use ordinance.
Can
All right.
I ask a question?
Sure.
Skip, is biomed the must? Is that back to planning now? Is that back down to you?
We haven't gotten our agenda yet. There was some discussion about whether or not it would be. but I think it might be,
Okay.
so we'll see.
All right, thank you, Skip. Luke?
Yeah, for Parks and Rec, our last meeting was March 13th, and the majority of that meeting was a group called Simone Collins, giving their concept design for the new Veterans Park, formerly St. David's Park, consistent with what I sent out before. They were going into a little more detail. Nobody wants the eternal flame, so that's going away. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. But everybody was happy with the drawings. Again, consistent with what I sent out before. They are available on the website, I believe, as a concept. Still some fine tuning and things like that. They have to get funding together. The veterans are working on that. There will not be a taxpayer dime put into this, apparently. It's all going to be privately paid for. On my end and Chuck Madden's end, the neighbors behind the park were promised some things with regard to the foliage and protecting their view from the park and people walking through. And I went through there a weekend or two ago, and it's pretty much bare. So they came in and during public comment basically said, can we do something to cover up the view and everything? So we're going to have to work with them on that in order to get that done as part of this whole thing, which is fine. So we're going to work on that. And then the Willows RFP, that's still out there. They're still working on what exactly the commissioners are still working on how to word the request for proposals. During public comments, somebody suggested turning it into an open-aired pavilion. I don't know where that will go, but it was an interesting thought. So somebody threw it out there, and that was it. The administration is still recommending that it be torn down, so we'll see where it goes. I don't know where it's going to go, but still in the beginning process. So,
Just a question, if it's going to be disassembled, the house, would it be sold to somebody that might want to put it back together somewhere else?
they're not sure. That's something they're kicking around too, because that would have to be, they purchased the whole property, from what I understand. House, it's all one piece, so they would have to somehow, how do you say it, segregate that piece out of the whole pie to sell it. It sounds kind of messy to me, but it's an option, yeah. It is an option. So I'm not sure what they're going to do, but they're thinking about everything, from what I understand.
All right, thank you. Any more questions there? Let me back up, too, that one thing that I should have mentioned when I was reporting on open space, we submitted a Wren grant. It went in a week or so ago, and we'll hear mid-May. I wanted to thank everybody who pitched in and helped with that. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that we hear good news in May, and the funds from that would be used to create native species gardens to control rain and runoff in the township, around the township building. So we hope that comes through.
I did find an announcement, something that I had sent. I discovered it, on April 9th at 7 o'clock, that's Wednesday, at Westchester Borough Hall on Gay Street. There's going to be a program called The Green Electric Grid of the Future. And this is put on by Chester County Citizens for Climate Protection that has an ongoing speaker series.
All right, thank you. Sounds very interesting. All right, no old business that we haven't addressed? No new business? And no public comment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? And a second?
Second.
All right, so be it.